What is Project Dragonia? Well, Project Dragonia is my personal project that started out 5 years ago as a high school project, but I wanted to develop it into something more, something bigger, something that could possibly change the world. And my plan to do that involves 3 phases. The phases are my artwork, which will eventually lead into novels that I will sell, and then those will fund my main goal, which is to create fantasy weapons and armor using modern technology to create special effects in those as well. So it's not just going to be your standard like cosplay. This is going to be real metal, real steel, and possibly real danger. So the weapons are not going to be toys that you find anywhere. They are going to be real weapons based off the novels that I write, and or even customized weapons or customized commissions to boot. So yeah, so I'm into custom work. I mainly do fantasy stuff. I got into fantasy when I first bought D&D, which is Dungeons and Dragons in case you didn't know. So that was like my main thing. Like I saw the artwork and I'm like, I want to create something like this. So I did. So I've been practicing ever since then to make fantasy artworks that everybody likes. So I am going to end this track now because the runtime is almost up, but I will be back in a second. So let me explain the 5 most prevalent artworks you've probably seen that I have been reworking over and over again. Those are my 5 main characters, and I am developing the cover art to make it look as good as possible. That's why I'm doing it again and again. But let's start off with the first OC that I ever developed, and this was actually the D&D character that I aspired to make. Electra, Sorceress of Storms. She was a mage character, and she is now I guess a sorceress. So her story is going to be the most interesting, as it's probably going to be the most difficult to develop out of the 5. Because mixing sci-fi and fantasy is never an easy task. And I'm very picky when it comes to like the movies that try to do it. But I'm not going to spend too much time on the first one. So let's move on to the second OC, which is actually my favorite one. Umbra, Warrior of Darkness, and she is the black armored one, as you can see, and she is going to be the first main character in the series that is introduced, and I'm not going to spoil much, so you guys give you a reason to check out my community where I drop lore on each of the 5 characters, and the amino community should be in the description. And anyway, next OC is Lamina the Flashing Blade. Originally the Blade Runner, but because of copyright reasons I had to change the name. So yeah. Anyway, she is a rogue character from an assassination organization. And next we have Almara, Lady of Light. She is more of a cleric / sorcerer who, you guessed it, wields the power of light. So she is pretty much one of the 3 big characters, Umbra, Lamina, and she is the other one. And if you go to my community, you will see what exactly I am talking about. So, and last but not least, we have Akura, the Silent Arrow, and her weapon is going to be pretty cool out of all of them. Definitely one of my favorite weapons, but it is a unique idea that her bow will be able to split into two swords / knives. Not sure what they'd be called because of the length or anything, but yeah, so she is going to be one of the probably more badass characters out of the bunch. But it's probably necessary because of her playing. But that's all I am going to say about the OCs that I have created. I'm going to move on to the So if you've been following me for any time, you're probably familiar with my logo, which is a dragon graphic in black and blue. Now, the background of the logo is interesting because it wasn't always a fiery background. The fiery background came with the idea of the forge. So my logo kind of started with making the company logo for the forging, and it's actually been adapted to be the logo for the entire project instead of just the thing. But the dragon in the logo is in fact Night Glacier, which is another one of my OCs, and he is the symbol of the city of Dragonia, hence the name Project Dragonia. And city of Dragonia is in fact an underground city, like literally subterranean, not like a secret city or anything. It is a subterranean city in a cave, really close to the main city and the lore. So I am going to explain this. Let me explain it. The cities are located on the plane of Dracomin, which is the first plane. It is literally the land of the dragons. So yeah, so a lot of the dragon OCs that I have created actually come from that plane. But Umbra is the main, it's who the story follows for the plane of Dracomin. So I decided to do her first because she is in fact my favorite one out of all of them. Because the design has changed so much over the past 5 years as my talents and stuff developed to allow me to put in more and more detail into the armor to make it look more and more intricate. So it has been a process, and eventually that has actually made me start to spend more time on her, so you can probably see why she's my favorite. But anyway, that is all for this video. I do not want it to be too long since it is just a story video for Amino, so I will see you guys in the next video.